Some missing person cases seem to disappear with time. Witnesses move away, evidence grows cold, and public attention fades. But every once in a while, a case refuses to stay buried. A teenager vanishes without a trace. Her last known day seems ordinary. Years pass without answers. Then decades later, investigators arrest the very person who raised her. And yet there's still no conviction. This is the story of Alissa Turney. First and foremost, this is educational purposes only. Condolences to the family. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to the Unforgotten Project. I'm D. Ellis. Let's dive into this case. A bright teenager with her whole life ahead. Alissa Turney was born in 1984. After the death of her biological father, she was raised in Phoenix, Arizona by her mother and her stepfather, Michael Turney. Friends described Alissa as friendly, outgoing, and independent. Like many teenagers, she had dreams, plans, and occasional disagreements with her parents. But beneath the surface, life at home appeared far from normal. Years later, Alissa's younger sister, Sarah Turney, would publicly describe an environment she believed was controlling and unhealthy. Sarah has said that she didn't fully recognize the seriousness of what was happening while growing up, only understanding it years later. Those accounts would eventually become a major part of the public conversation surrounding Alissa's disappearance. The last day anybody saw Alissa was on May 17, 2001. 17-year-old Alissa attended school as usual. According to investigators, she left campus before the school day officially ended. Michael Turney later claimed that he picked her up from school after she got into an argument with another student. According to this account, Alissa became upset after being disciplined at home and decided to leave. He claimed she ran away voluntarily. Later, Michael said he found a note from Alissa explaining that she was leaving. The alleged note reportedly suggested that she planned to go to California and would return when she was ready. But investigators would later question that explanation. No verified sighting ever confirmed Alissa reached California. She never contacted friends. She never contacted family members she trusted. She never even used her social security number after that. No employment records, no driver's license activity, no bank accounts. She just left no digital footprint. Initially, Alissa's disappearance was treated largely as a runaway case. Unfortunately, this wasn't unusual in the early 2000s. Teens were often assumed to have left voluntarily, especially if someone claimed they had written a goodbye letter. But friends reportedly insisted Alissa had been excited about graduation and future plans. She had close relationships. She had belongings that she left behind. And as time passed, the runaway theory became increasingly difficult to reconcile with the total absence of evidence that she was alive. Over the years, Michael consistently denied harming Alissa. He maintained that she had left on her own. However, his behavior eventually attracted increasing scrutiny. Investigators later learned that Michael had extensive surveillance equipment installed around his home. Reports indicated he had cameras monitoring different parts of the property. Authorities also discovered that he kept detailed recordings and observations about family members. Michael claimed these security measures were necessary because he believed he was being threatened by organized crime and government conspiracies. Those claims were never substantiated. In 2008, the investigation took a dramatic turn. Federal agents searched Michael's home, not primarily because of Alissa's disappearance, but because of concerns related to explosive materials. What they found surprised investigators. Authorities reportedly recovered dozens of explosive devices, weapons, and other materials. Even more disturbing were allegations that investigators described a lengthy manifesto in which Michael expressed extreme hostility towards certain organizations. Although these discoveries did not directly prove what happened to Alissa, they significantly changed how law enforcement viewed Michael. He was prosecuted federally on weapons-related charges. He eventually pleaded guilty to possessing unregistered destructive devices and served prison time. Still, Alissa remained missing. One of the most remarkable aspects of this case is the role played by Alissa's younger sister, Sarah Turney. As she grew older, Sarah began re-examining her childhood. She questioned the explanations she had accepted for years. She started speaking publicly. She used social media to raise awareness. Eventually launched a podcast dedicating to Alissa's disappearance. Sarah shared family members, police documents that had become public, and interviews connected to the case. Millions of people who had never heard Alissa's name suddenly knew her story. The renewed public attention pressure on investigators to continue examining the evidence. Sarah's advocacy transformed the case from a forgotten missing person investigation into one of the country's most discussed cold cases. Then came an announcement few expected. In 2020, nearly 19 years after Alissa disappeared, prosecutors charged Michael Turney with second-degree murder. The charge marked a major turning point. For years, many people wondered whether investigators would ever feel that they had enough evidence to bring a case. Authorities argued that they had assembled significant circumstantial evidence. Importantly, however, Alissa's body had never been found. Cases without a body can absolutely result in convictions, but they are often significantly more challenging because prosecutors must prove that the victim is actually dead and that the defendant caused that death beyond reasonable doubt. Circumstantial evidence isn't weak evidence. In fact, many criminal convictions rely heavy upon it, but each piece must fit together into a convincing picture. In Alissa's case, prosecutors reportedly relied on numerous factors, including Michael being the last known person to see Alissa, statements allegedly made over the years, evidence regarding family dynamics, and testimony from witnesses. The defense maintained that there was no physical evidence proving Michael killed Alissa. Without a body, without forensic evidence establishing a homicide, without eyewitnesses, the burden remained extraordinarily high.
Through some kind of tribulation, because I know what I did and didn't do, and I didn't kill my daughter. I knew that. And to be falsely accused, because police officers are allowed to lie, was devastating to me because I used to be one, and I've always promoted that the cops are the good guys, but they have to show it. They have to earn respect. And Phoenix PD's never had respect to the citizens. They're very rogue and they're very brutal. And that's why they're being investigated now, and they should be investigated on this because this is all their fabrication.
In 2003, a judge dismissed the murder charge before the case reached a jury. The court concluded that prosecutors had not presented significant evidence to proceed under the applicable legal standard at that stage. It's important to understand what this means. A dismissal is not the same as a declaration of innocence. Likewise, it is not a conviction. Rather, the court determined the evidence presented was legally insufficient to move forward with that prosecution. Michael Turney has consistently denied any involvement in Alissa's disappearance. No one has ever been convicted in the connection with her case. One of the enduring questions is whether someone outside the family could have harmed Alissa. Investigators have explored multiple possibilities over the years. However, there has never been publicly confirmed evidence placing Alissa with another suspect after she left school that day. Because there is no confirmed timeline after May 17, 2001, almost every theory contains significant gaps. That uncertainty is one reason the case remains officially unresolved. Alissa's disappearance illustrates how difficult cold cases can become. Witnesses' memories fade. Evidence can be lost. Technology changes. Investigators retire. But advances in forensic science, digital analysis, and renewed witness interviews sometimes breathe new life into decades-old investigations. Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments section.